Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of East Got Game, where we give you the X's, the O's, and the insights of NBL 1 East. Thanks for joining us tonight live on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And remember, you can follow us on those platforms as well at East Got Game, or you can continue to find our episodes on your preferred streaming platforms. While you're there, check out Cut to the Jace, a podcast featuring the current Bankstown Bruin himself, Jason Kadee, and It's a Cole World, a podcast by WNBL champion Bet Cole, both brought to you by basketball.com.au. Lockie, another big round of NBL 1Es done and dusted, and we are really on the home stretch to finals now.
We have hit the 75% mark of the season in terms of games played. And speaking of games played, there were some belters this weekend. Manly Illawarra in the men. Not a shocking result for Manly to get up, but definitely a very good win for the Sea Eagles that are, gives the Illawarra Hawks and I dare say the North Bears a little something to think about, because those three teams are now well ahead of everyone else in the men's competition.
Which we sometimes see in the men's competition, kind of a clear cream of the crop, and then usually it's that fight for third or fourth and below in the men's competition that's always really tight. But yeah, this year, especially having North, Illawarra, Manly, three teams that are really cemented themselves in the top three. And usually we're used to the likes of the Canberra Gunners up there, but they've slid down to fifth position, and COE slotting in at fourth. So yeah, it's looking really good for those teams. Like North is still really strong, 13-2, Illawarra 12-2. Manly at 12-3. It's shaping up to be. It's going to be an epic final series.
It certainly is. If everything like those teams play to their level for finals, it's going to be epic one way or the other. Because either the two of those three teams make it, or someone makes an absolutely glorious fairy tale run. So looking forward to it.
Yes, and we've got quite a list of great discussion points tonight before we get into our East Got Game of the week. But yeah, let's talk about qualifying teams. Last episode, you did mention a bunch of teams from the men and women's side that are definitely qualified for finals. But after round 11, it doesn't look like any teams have been added to those lists.
No. A lot of teams that, if someone else loses or they get one win, they're in. And for all intents and purposes, you can say they're in, but we can't mathematically write them in. Like, it's merely just the fact that North Illawarra and Manly have only played, Illawarra have only played 14 games so far. And, it is what it is. I think next week we'll be able to say a few more teams have definitely made it. And on the women's side as well, like, North, Manly, and Bankstown are in. Theo and did I mention COE last week? I think COE are also now in on the women's side. So that would be about it. But yeah, not a lot going. Yeah. So watch this space though, because there's definitely a lot of teams we can almost ride in.
So we opened up the opportunity to our loyal eggheads out there to contribute a discussion point or a question for tonight's episode via our Instagram story this morning. And this one is from Jacob Farah, also one of the many talented photographers across our league. He wants to know who we think of the men's teams, firstly, are making that 4 to 8 spots. So before we get stuck into it, I'll quickly revise who's currently in 1 to 8. It's North Bears, as I mentioned, Illawarra Hawks, Manly Sea Eagles, Centre of Excellence, Canberra Gunners in 5th position with a win-loss record of 10-6, Maitland Mustangs, Sutherland Sharks, then the Central Coast Crusaders. In 9th position is the Inner West Bulls at 8-7, playing 15 games, and they've just come off a weekend of beating the Canberra Gunners at home. And then we still got Comets 10th and Bankstown 11th. So that's the 1 to 11 with a pretty solid top 8. Do you see positions 4 to 8 changing in the next few rounds?
I mean, I don't really like. You look, Centre of Excellence have already played their 20 games and they're up to 13 wins. So I dare say they'll probably slot into 4th, maybe 5th. Look, it's so close. Inner West, they've just shown they're on form. That win against COE, having commentated on COE on the Saturday night, where they only had 6 players against Sutherland, and as soon as Jai got his 4th foul, they were cooked. I think it was a 5-point game. Jai got his 4th foul and ended up a 30-point game. So probably not as much to read into that win over a win over COE, but a win over the Canberra Gunners is definitely. I mean, even without Glenn, is it's still a big result for them. So I mean, they can definitely jump up. They're 8 and 7. The only reason they're in 9th and not tied for 8th is they played fewer games. They play Comets, who are a tricky team to play against, but are now sitting at 6 and 9 and are on a 4-game losing streak. So take advantage of that. Get to 9 and 7. This could be one of those seasons where you need to be, we see some seasons where being right on the cut line at 500 gets you into 8th. This could be one of those seasons where you need to get 11, maybe even 12 wins to guarantee yourself a spot. Like 11 wins might be a tiebreaker for 8th, because these teams all keep hovering just around over 500. But I mean, you went 1 to 11. I think it's only the teams in the top 9. There's only I don't see Comets or Bankstown making enough of a run late on here to get to finals, unfortunately. And I think, looking at Hills, Newcastle, they can still get to 10 wins, but I don't see it happening. Well, I think Crusaders are just in such good form. I can see them keeping a roll on. I can see this top 8 staying as is, and maybe Inner West just missing out, unfortunately, which is crazy work considering they've knocked off some really good teams. But it could just be a year where being a really good team isn't enough.
Yeah, I think a lot about this season as well in both men's and women's competition is about peaking at the right time. I mean, we'll get stuck into it a bit later, but Inner West Bulls versus Gunners, probably one of the most enjoyable Inner West Bulls men's games I've watched in a little while. But now they're in the back end of the season. Like you said, 75% of the season is done. This last 25% is going to be really important if they're able to maintain that high level of consistency and discipline, and even give that a little bit more to make sure that they've got a good chance for this finals. Because looking at say 5 to 8, Gunners, Maitland, Sharks, Crew, Bulls in 9th, it is really, really tight. And a lot of these teams, few of these teams actually play each other in the last few rounds. So Maitland will play and Crew play each other.
Canberra plays Sutherland this weekend down in Canberra.
And then Inner West Bulls also play Sutherland. What's interesting is that Maitland have got the run of Hills, Comets, Newey, Bruins. So all teams, they're playing 4 teams that are below them currently in the ladder. So 6th spot is theirs for them to lose, essentially. Expecting Rain Smith to come back after his stint in China on national duties.
Captaining national duties.
Captaining as well.
Yeah.
Hats off to you, Rain Smith. But Inner West as well, Comets, Newey, Sharks, North, Manly. So they've probably been dealt a pretty draw to end their season to make the sprint to the finals. So yeah, they're going to have to really, really pull it together. I didn't have a quick look to see who the Gunners have got as well to finish it out. but I can't imagine it's going to be easy.
They've got Sutherland, Norths, Albury, Comets. So a bit of a mix of teams in the final spots and teams not quite there. And then, I mean, look at Crew. Their last 3 games are Hornsby, Newcastle, Albury, Wodonga. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the men's competition isn't like the women's competition where you walk in and play one of the bottom 3 and just pretty much walk out with a win. But you'd still rather that draw than North, Manly, Illawarra, your last 3 or something like that. So take your wins while you can get them.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So again, like, would you rather be in that position where you're in 9th position, you're the Inner West Bulls, you're in 9th position on the ladder, you're only 9th by 1.4 point percentage. So nothing.
Yeah.
And you've got to play 5 games. 2 of the 5 games are against the top 2 teams, or the top 2 of the top 3 teams. So you rise to the challenge, or is it the pressure of being in 6th and 8th position, playing teams that are below you on the ladder, and just, you know, having a Barry Crocker?
No. I don't worry about the intangibles. Always take what you can get. It's like when teams say, like, having the week off for finals and say, oh, I'd rather lose week 1 so we can, keep our momentum and, keep playing games and, because we're bad after the week off. It's like, no, because a bye is a 100% guaranteed win. Any game you play is less than that. So don't worry about, if you win, you're in week 3 regardless. If you lose, then you've got to play it, even if it's against the 8th place team. Just take what you can get. Always the better placed team is what I'd rather be. But Inner West, like, they can go and get the split on Sutherland and things like that. So, but yeah, I think that draw that Central Coast have is just, it's going to make it tough for anyone to, they could really bounce up the table here. They could finish on 12 wins here easily. So that'd slot them right into 5th or 6th place. Possibly, possibly, depending on how it falls for other teams.
Would love to see that. So obviously, getting wins on the board obviously is important, but now starting to think a little bit more mathematically, given that as little as 1.4 in the points percentage is separating teams. You either have to win big, score a bunch of points, or stop the other team from scoring a bunch of points just to give yourself that edge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I'm feeling a big tiebreaker at the end of the season, though.
I mean, every year, it wouldn't be an NBL 1A season without a tiebreaker for the men's finals, honestly.
Yeah. Last year we had a 3-way tie for first, so.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So are you saying that you're seeing positions 4 to 8 in the men's competition to stay as is?
I don't know if the positions will stay, but I think the teams will stay.
Yeah. I think it's tricky. That Inner West Bulls team, after what I saw, is tricky.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'm gonna back you up and say I think the teams also in those positions, as it stands, will stay the same, but maybe not in the exact positions as they are after round 11.
And it's funny we're talking about this. I mean, I'm not going to have a discussion about it again tonight, but the unbalanced draw where you play 5 teams an extra time and not a full home and away you'd have to do some real investigative work. But is it having an effect on this? Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the women's.
Yeah, so the women's side, North is still clear on top, 15-0, which is outstanding. 15-0. Manly as well, 14-1. Manly doing Manly things. Bankstown, what an absolute great story this has been this season. 12-2 in third position. This is the Bankstown women's team that we knew was coming. We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
We knew that they were working on it, and now it's all paying off. So this is great from Bankstown. COE in fourth possession, 20 games, 15-5. Newcastle in fifth, 9-5. Hornsby at 6, 9-6. Albury Wodonga Bandits at 7th, 8-7. And the Stangers in 8th position, 7-8. With Hills just behind them on 7-8 in 9th position, and Canberra in 10th position with 7-9. So again, the disparity of games played at the moment, maybe misrepresentation of standings, but in terms of points percentage between teams, Albury actually have a higher points percentage than Hornsby, but they do have one extra loss. So,
and they play each other very, very soon.
Next round.
Next round. And Hornsby, like, we're looking, I think we can say the top 5 are locked in. I know Newcastle are only 9-5 at the moment, but and they play Manly, but they've got Penrith, Inner West, and Crew, and then Hornsby, who are decimated in their last 4 games. So lock the Falcons in. That's your top 5: North, Manly, Bankstown, COE, Falcons. Hornsby are the big one for me. I know they're 9-6. No Ruby Perkins, no Jessie May Hall. They just got waxed by Hills by 27. They do play Crew and Comets in 2 of their last 5 games, but their other 3, I'm pretty sure, are really tough games. So, I mean, you would still think they could beat Crew without Ruby and Jessie May, and maybe Lucy Mead if she's gone as well. Can they beat Comets with Chantal Horvath in the lineup? So they've got to get at least one of those games if they want to make finals, if they don't, without having to rely on beating these top teams. So they're the interesting one for me. Can they fall back to the pack? Because some of these other teams like Maitland and Hills have pretty soft draws to finish the season, including Maitland and Hills playing each other. So one of them's guaranteed a win in that game.
Yeah, so what I'm looking at is Hornsby's fixture, as you mentioned, Albury Wodonga next round. Not only have Hornsby lost, obviously, Ruby, Jessie May, and possibly now Lucy Mead, but Albury have gained last tier Poa. So,
and she is balling.
Yeah, so she's almost averaging. Well, I mean, that might be a stretch me saying that, but she's had a triple-double nearly on her debut, almost backed it up with another triple-double. So she's come into the league like red hot. Then Hornsby in round 13 will have Crew away, which, look, they can probably still get, as you said. So is Chantal Horvath back for Comets?
It's been back a couple of weeks. So her last game out was the game against Sutherland. So she played one game of that doubleheader, and then she's been back since. Okay,
cool. So can you see anyone in that current Hornsby roster able to limit what Chantal Horvath can do, given she had such a huge debut in NBL 1 East earlier in the season?
Yeah, look, she's not at the same level yet, just having had so much time off. But it's a tough one. I mean, going to be very, very tough to stop her. My more concern with Comets is, do they have the support around her? She's not going to, other players still have to put the ball in the basket and stop Ayana Bay and Christina Moore, because even though they got demolished by Hills, they both had 24 points, I think. So,
of course, Christina Moore and Horvath, that's going to be the matchup of the game.
Yeah. So
I keep forgetting that Christina Moore is slotting into that Hornsby team despite watching her go off last week against Sutherland.
Yes. Thanks for the reminder. I've watched Sutherland lose 2 women's games by a point in my last 2 calls for them. So
that's tough.
Yeah. Although getting to commentate on COE is never a bad thing. But back to the Spiders. Look, I think they can get past Comets and Crew, and get to 11 wins and make it safe. But I got to see it happen before it's not one of those things where I just think they're going to be walk up, get both wins kind of thing. They can prove me wrong.
Well, just below them, like I mentioned, in seventh position is Albury-Wodonga Bandits. They're on 8 and 7, and it looks like they have at least one double header in the last few rounds for the season. So they've got Hornsby next round, then they have a double away trip to Illawarra Penrith in round 13. Then they've got Canberra at home in round 14. That's 4 games, and they finished the season at home against Crew. 5 games to go. I'm going to be so bold and say that this is 5-0 for them to finish the season.
I don't think that's bold. I think that's pretty on point with LT in the roster now.
Mm-hmm. That will put them at 13 wins.
That would, which is, I think, a reasonable end to the season for Albury-Wodonga. I had them. I said minimum 4. So I don't see any reason they can't get 5. They lost to Illawarra. That was pre-LT. The other 3 they should beat, and that just leaves the Canberra game. The return of Katie Jones to play her old team, which will be very interesting. But it's also interesting for Canberra, who we'll get to when we roll down the table a bit. But 100%, they can. I think 6th place is Albury-Wodonga's to lose at a minimum.
Mm-hmm. And the last 2 teams really fighting for that last spot is Maitland Mustangs Women and Hills Hornets. And James Mullen from Waratah and BCR did ask for us to discuss if Hills have got what it takes to make that 8th spot. But let's talk about the Stangers first, with Casey Newbert coming off Player of the Week honours with her huge Annalie Maley inspired rebound count. So you know what? Side note, it was really nice to see a couple of other players get their flowers as Player of the Week this round. Yeah, in Elias Cato and Casey Newbert. So I really liked that they had their opportunities to shine and hopefully get something from Foot Locker with their voucher. If either of them are listening, please tag us in what you get in your purchase when you upload it. But the Stangers women again, next game, Crew at home. That's one in the bag. But I'm sorry, Crew. Let's be real. But round 13, Hills women and Maitland women actually play against each other at Hills.
Yeah.
This is the game for both teams.
Yeah, 100%. Because you lose that game, if you lose the split, it's not just a loss. You could have to finish one game above them as well after losing to them. It's massive. Maitland are one team I was looking at a few weeks ago. I was like, they're 4 and 8, and I looked at the draw and I was like, wow, they could get to 10 and 8, and they'd want to be 10 and 8 because I'm sure you have it in front of you who they're playing in the last 2 games.
Oh yeah, wait, I haven't got there yet. But they got Comets in round 14. Round 15, they have a double header, Newcastle and Bankstown. Now, I don't know who at Maitland annoyed someone in the cosmos to get that as your final 2 games of the season. That is tough. At least they're both at home, so they'll have the home crowd really behind them. Finish round 15 with that Maitland-Newcastle derby that everyone knows and loves at home. So, Newcastle and Bankstown, that is going to be tough.
That is real tough. And I think Hills have a slightly softer draw to roll home, but still they too have to worry about beating Maitland, just like Maitland have to worry about beating Hills before they can worry about the future.
I really think on Maitland's best day, they could take Newcastle.
Yeah, if they fully show up. I think they could.
Yeah, just depends what version of Maitland you're going to get that day.
At home, on their best day, needing the win, stars align, they can get it done. I just wouldn't want to rely on it.
No. And Munga is going to do Munga things.
Yes.
Which is one thing you can count on, but you can't count on, just how much she's going to contribute. She's also essentially a walking triple-double. And now she's got Mia Heidi to add to that extra piece for Newcastle as well. So Newbert and Heidi is going to be a nice matchup in that game.
Yeah, well.
But like you said, Hills is slightly softer run. They've got Illawarra Hawks at home in round 12. They got Maitland, as we mentioned, in round 13. Penrith and Bankstown away in round 14. So potentially 1-1 for them.
Mm.
And then they play Illawarra again on the 15th and away. So even though on paper for Hills, it certainly looks like a softer run, but I think it's the added pressure of playing Illawarra twice in 4 weeks. You want to at least be getting a split because Illawarra they're 12th, so they're not really in the hunt for a top 8 spot. But if you drop one of those games, that could be the one game that kicks you out.
Yeah. I mean, I will say Illawarra at 5-9, Hills, Albury, Comets, Sutherland, Hills again, and then Penrith on the last day. They can still, like you said, if Maitland can take Newcastle, Illawarra can take some of these. They've already knocked off Albury Wodonga this season.
Mm.
I know it was pre-LT, but they're not out of getting to 10 wins and still being in the mix. I just think this week, some of these matchups, Albury, Hornsby, Canberra, Sutherland, Hills, Illawarra, we're going to come back next week and a whole lot is going to already be a lot clearer just because of how the draw's fallen this weekend.
Yeah, and I think the other thing for Hills run, just to compare Hills and Maitland again, because they are in that fight for the 8th spot at the moment in the ladder, they not only do they play each other, they also both play Bankstown. So it's going to be super important that each team are either going to, if say they both lose to Bankstown, whoever, they have to lose by the smallest of margins to give them that edge over the other.
Yeah. You can't, if one team miraculously beats Bankstown and the other loses, call it.
Yeah. So that's going to be really exciting to see that race for that final spot between Hills and Maitland. Because they are locked 7 and 8 at the moment with
3.6.
How's my math? 6. I was going to say 6. Oh, my math is so bad. 3.6 point percentage separating them right now. But final answer. You said Newcastle definitely a lock for 5th.
Yep.
So obviously keeping an eye on Hornsby, Albury, Maitland, but we're going to promote, say, Albury will be locked in at 6.
Yeah, I think Albury will get over Hornsby, Ku-ring-gai. And then obviously Canberra and Sutherland still aren't out of it. I think probably the loser of Canberra Sutherland won't be mathematically. If Canberra lose, they'll be in real trouble, 7 and 10. Sutherland would drop to 6 and 9. And I'm pretty sure Loz Nicholson is away playing 3x3 again this weekend. But we can't. Sorry. I'm Sutherland, but I know Lauren Nicholson is a 3-time Asia Cup bronze medalist and a 2-time WNBL Defensive Player of the Year and everything else. But we can't just always go, Lauren Nicholson's not there, give the Sharkies a free pass. Sorry. At some point, we have to start winning games without it because, it would be nice to have it for a whole season. And this season, I think originally we kind of thought we would. But as you represent your country at 3x3 level. So, but we can't just keep. Yeah, we can't just say, "Oh no, Lauren," because got to win this one. Yeah, we got to beat Canberra. They've already got an 11-point win in Sutherland, so you got to overcome them by 12 to get the split on the season series. So there we go.
And bench for bench, Sutherland have the depth over Canberra, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah. Time to shine.
Especially,
Emily Garland, call up your name. Drop another 20 for us.
I mean, the other week, Canberra beat Sutherland. It was Lauren Nicholson got 3 stitches. She was fine to play. She just had fresh stitches, so couldn't play. But Canberra played that game with obviously no Carly McAllister and no Sky Reese, and still got an 11-point win against a Lauren-less Sutherland. So it can be a very interesting one down there in the national capital this weekend.
So we're going Newey 5th, Albury 6th. I'm going to be so bold and say Maitland Hills. I think Hornsby's going to drop out.
You think Hornsby are gone?
I know that sounds really harsh because we've loved watching them play all season, and Shaq Shaw is coaching the hell out of them.
So you think they're going to? You think they're going to lose the Comets?
Oh,
so I think
that's a good point.
They'd have to lose. Oh, yeah. I just find it hard. We could see 3 or 4 team tiebreaker here between Hornsby and Hills. 3 or 4 of those. Yeah.
Or I will take that back and say Albury 6th, Maitland 7th, Hornsby 8th, maybe.
Fair.
Hills out. For Hills out. Yeah.
I reckon I'm going to go Newcastle, Albury, Wodonga. I find it hard to believe Newcastle are going to lose enough games. So they could even drop to 6, but those two will be 5th and 6th. And then I'm going to stick with Hornsby Karingai in 7th. I think they're going to get over Crew and Comets. I think Bay and Moore and Hartman, combined with the other pieces, they brought Muffy in. I think they'll do just enough. So that'll be them on 11 wins, and then Maitland.
There we go. That's your answer. We got there in the end. It's too tough to call, and as people have been listening to us for a while, we don't like to we like to kind of give predictions for the fun of it, but we also don't want it to be taken as that we don't like teams.
Yeah.
We like all the teams.
I mean, yeah, I would love Sutherland. I keep like Sutherland is still got to play Canberra this weekend with no Lauren, and then play Manly and North. It's so tough. But to already be 6 and 8, yeah.
And we've been asked on Instagram Live for the grand final predictions for the women's comp, as in and I'm like, that for me personally, it's too early. It's too early.
I mean, I want to say you kind of want to, yeah. It's a cop out to do this, but we've got Bankstown, North, Bankstown, Manly, Newcastle this weekend.
Too soon to call.
We'll know. We'll see something. We have no form for these teams against each other, except Bankstown getting waxed by 50 before they had everybody by North. That's the only we have to go on. Except Bankstown beating Manly against North. We don't really have form for Bankstown North. So
nah, too soon.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see Bankstown win this weekend against North.
Oh, it's going to be an absolute cracker of a game. So, the back end of the season, it's always that cream of the crop that we're looking forward to. But let's wait for all of the rest of the cards to fall before we make those kind of grand final predictions.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to our so thank you, James and Jacob, for submitting your questions via Instagram. Hopefully we in the end did answer the questions. We'd love to know your opinions, though, and who you think is going to make the positions 4 to 8 in the men's and 5 to 8 in the women's. Not just for them, anyone that's listening, if you'd like to share us who you think has got those spots, send us a DM on Instagram. But getting back to our discussion points after round 11, the effect of players leaving for college. The bittersweet exit mid-season or just after mid-season exits that really hurt some teams.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned briefly COE men and Hornsby women. These two, I mean, COE and the Hornsby Ku-ring-gai women especially, COE know what they're getting into every year. It's unfortunate. And this year with the men's under-17 World Cup falling on, it starts this Saturday or Sunday. So
it sure does start this Saturday.
Oh, yeah, because you'll be commentating.
Yeah. Can't wait to get trolled on YouTube again.
So, yeah, I mean, between a few players leaving for college, 4 players getting called up to the Crocs, players leaving. I think I saw someone in a moon boot. I didn't catch who it was because the COE bench is way down there at Sutherland. They only ran with 6. And, I mean, it's tough. I mean, post-World Cup, they'll be back with more, but it's really tough. Like, you lose guys like Alex Dickerson was putting up 30 pieces, and there are other players as well leaving. And it's just really tough. And it's just like, Jai, like I said, Jai got his 4th foul against Sutherland on Saturday night. Sutherland called a timeout. I'm sure Sean Rogers said, just put it down their throat because they can't foul. Because they can't have 2 players in foul trouble when you're only running with 6. So Tyler Robertson just put his head down and went at people. And in about 5 or 6 minutes, it was a 20-point game. But what else were you going to do? And then with no Jai on the court, they didn't really have a floor general. So real tight. It just sucks, it's like it happens with the COE program, but it's just tough to see. I'm just glad it was only 1 round that it really affected them, and that the women didn't have the same issue as well with their World Cup not being for a couple of weeks. Don't like it. I mean, but it happens. It happens around the league. COE women did have Zara Russell leave. Fortunately, that was only 1. And then, I don't know what you think, Squim, but I think Hornsby, Ku-ring-gai, they knew what they were getting into. They were like, okay, we'll have Ruby, we'll have Jessie, especially with Ruby. Jessie May been there a season or 2, and so is Lucy Mead. But, okay, we're going to have Jessie May and Ruby. We'll bank wins as much as we can and try to ride it out when they finish. You know what you're getting into, but it's tough, and it comes with the territory. But it's just, it's kind of.
And I know that Ruby was really keen to play her last NBL 1 season for a while with, one of her besties, Jessie May, and they certainly made the most of it. But you're right, Hornsby definitely knew what they were getting into. That's why Shaq, did the smart recruiting of not just focusing everything around those 2 or 3 players, but then went and got Christina Moore back to her home club. Obviously did the right thing to get Muffy back after she had some shoulder surgery, because Muffy was actually signed to play for North Gold Coast Seahawks here in NBL 1 North, and then had to take care of an injury. Of course, getting Ayana Bay back. So he's done a really good job of being able to recruit past those 2 youngsters. But then he also does a great job with his rotation, so that people that are deeper in the bench are still getting enough playing time, that in these situations, when then that number is called to play longer minutes, they're ready.
Yeah, 100%. And that's something that you should be doing regardless, because if a player goes down injured or has national team duty unexpectedly, then someone has to step up. And if they've barely touched the court, it's very hard for them to not just, get into the structure of the team under live fire, but just generally being out on court in a game situation at all, if you haven't done it in a while. Especially if you're not a youth league player as well. You just haven't been out on court playing games.
And then the next topic, next discussion point, this is becoming one of my gripes, and apparently a couple of other people as well, according to our Instagram DMs. Why are the replays glitching so much when they're uploaded to the website? So last week, in the game that we previewed, what was it? Sutherland Sharks women and Hornsby women. That was glitchy as hell. This week we go to preview Manly Warringah Seagulls. I shouldn't say preview, review Manly and Illawarra men. And it was it was just as bad. They'd gone further into the matrix than the game before, and it was so frustrating that we couldn't end up watching the game properly.
And even when it wasn't like at the start, it would like freeze and then catch up. And Isaiah Lee was looking like Usain Bolt going up court. And then later on, it would be like smooth picture, but like pixely. When it wasn't jumping, it would be smooth, like smooth up and down court, but pixely. And I don't know if it was like that live or if it's just something with the upload, but yeah, not bueno. Especially when, like, I really wanted to, like, I message you. You normally never message you that early to pick a game. I'd be like, I was straight out. I was like, Manly Laura, it's gotta be. No such luck.
Has to be. No. I'm just trying to look up as well. Apparently, the other game that was really glitchy. Let me see. Where did I see it? Maitland Penrith as well.
Oh, really?
Apparently, it was really glitchy.
Maitland home game? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Random.
Yeah. So that's really a real shame that was glitchy as well. It's just kind of doing not just the league, but the players and their families and their friends a disservice, because if they want to rewatch the game for whatever reason, then they can't enjoy it.
Apparently, the Sutherland Canberra game last weekend also live wasn't like loading when you go to the box score to watch the video, the live box score to watch the video.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't there live. Like it wasn't loading properly. So yeah.
Wow.
So my poor mother couldn't even watch the game because that's who told me.
Can always rely on mum for those tips.
Yeah.
And then
annoying. Yeah.
And then the next one, you mentioned you saw a player posting on Instagram that their teammate is taping their ankles before the games and the mandating physios for all teams.
Well, how is that not a thing? Like, what?
I guess if the club don't have money, they don't have that kind of support.
But why is it not in the league rules that you have to have a physio at the game? Like, at least, like, I think they said that the opposition had a physio, so they could have used them. But still, surely, like, I don't know. I come from a multi-sport, not multi-sport, that's like triathlon and things. Multiple sports background. Like, so at NPL soccer, you have to have a physio for first grade and at least a level 2 sports trainer for under 23s, which is essentially youth league. They all have to be registered with Football New South Wales. They have to be on the bench. So, like, if you've got maximum team personnel, so I think you can have 5 team personnel. If you've got 5 coaches, one of them can't sit on the bench because the physio has to be on the bench. Surely that's... And I got a copy of the 2026 NBL 1 East bylaws. Shout out to the person that gave them to me. And I did a quick control find for physio, and it says, we encourage the home team to provide a physio for the home team and the visiting. I was like, encourage? Really? Encourage? You got to have some... Like, what if something... what if someone has a horrific injury and just on, it's the one game where neither team has a physio?
But also, wasn't it also mandatory, especially at juniors, and I'm not sure if it is at senior games anymore, to have St. John's ambulance on site?
Really?
Yeah, I remember.
I don't think it is. Well, I don't think it is in senior league. I don't know if they'd have the personnel to do it, but yeah.
Perhaps that was something phased out a long time ago, because I remember growing up and there was always St. John's ambulance on site. At least we know at the professional games, especially, NBL, they're always on site. But yeah, even when we had primary school tournaments, St. John's ambulance were always on site. So maybe that's something that's been phased out, cost cutting, who knows?
Maybe that's a big tournament thing where there's a lot of teams in one place. Because I know at handball national championships we had just one medical personnel. So teams had their physios, but there was also one, I don't know if it was St. John's ambulance or something else, but he was running around all day, for any injury. So, but yeah, I couldn't believe that all I saw was we encouraged teams to supply a physio rather than it be mandated, which seems crazy to me.
Then you got the UC Canberra Capitals and the WNBL, who traditionally don't travel on their away games with a team manager.
Yeah, right.
Maybe that's a story, another story for another day. But
is that why they once had to play in Knox Raiders jerseys, because they didn't have their kit with them, because they don't bring a team manager?
I can't remember if it was something around they were packed the wrong kit, or they were given the wrong kit to go with. Yeah, so things like that, yes.
Yeah, righto.
Yeah. And the final point here, North had a hugely successful pink round. So congratulations to North for their pink round. They teamed up with Tough for Tea, which is the foundation founded by, inspired by Tiana Mangakahia, who unfortunately passed away from breast cancer, taken way, way, way too soon from us. So the Norths did a great job putting on the pink round, and they had a pink round jersey auction. But it sounds like they were hot property, Lockie.
It's still going. So there's 12 days left to bid. 3 of the women's jerseys have already been sold. So you can bid for one, or you can buy now for $250. And 3 of them have already been purchased for the $250. So
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
But I also want to know, so North had the pink round when they did it with the Tough for Tea. Canberra also had a pink round, slightly different shade of pink, but the same sentiment. But I kind of miss the days where NBL won, whether it was by conference or whether it was nationally. We were all doing the same round at the same time. Why have we stopped doing that?
I don't know. I think we heard around the traps that clubs got to say yes or no on each round. And for whatever reason, some rounds happen, some rounds don't. I do like to see that even if the league's not doing a round, some teams still, put in and make sure, they feel it's the right thing to do. They'll do it nonetheless, which is great to see. But I mean, when you have such a beloved figure like Tiana and North's doing this, it feels like this is the basketball feels like the sport that should be doing pink round across the league. I can't fathom why this wouldn't be at least a conference wide round, if not a league wide round.
Certainly makes it more meaningful when you had someone that was so instrumental in our game on and off the court. Obviously passed away from breast cancer. I mean, we saw the same thing in cricket. Jane McGrath Foundation, that's how that started. Obviously, wife of Glenn McGrath, makes it more meaningful for one of the current Australian players to have the foundation integrated into cricket. I mean, we can certainly do a very similar thing.
100%. And it's she was an assistant coach for Sutherland, so it's not like she doesn't have any connection to NBL 1 East itself. And she played for the Flames, but then she also was in a part of NBL 1 East.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see, and it doesn't have, I think there were some seasons where we had 4 different types of rounds and everyone was doing it, and it was a league-wide thing or a conference-wide thing. It doesn't have to be that many, but I'd like to see maybe at least 2 consistent dedicated rounds in not just per conference, per national competition. done at similar times in similar ways. And maybe they can pick 2 different ones every year. So maybe Indigenous and mental health, or Pink Round and Pride Round, or something like that. So it's consistent.
Yeah, I think over the years, what have we had? We always have Anzac Round, obviously. And then we've had Indigenous, Heritage, Pink Round, Pride Round.
We've had mental health rounds.
And mental health round. So we've had, I think, 6 different rounds over the years. So, 2 or 3 a year. Get around it. And get around the jersey auction. I know people are saying that the Norse Pink jerseys are absolute fire. So put your money where your mouth is. You won't get many chances to get one. And they're game-worn jerseys. So you're going to get like the proper player name and number as well. Unless you're a fan of either Donnelly or Jazz Shelley, because those are gone.
Yeah. Those are gone. We are sorry that those are gone.
Yeah. One of them is heading my way.
Woo! Very nice. Very nice. We'll have to wait for a future episode to see what it is.
We will, but I do have one new jersey here.
Is it the McDonald jersey?
It is a Ruby McDonald Illawarra Indigenous jersey.
I think you've been waiting for that one for a couple of episodes now. Is that right?
I have, and it arrived yesterday. I'm very happy. So it's up here with my Beck Dallinger and Izzy Morgan jerseys, because they are 3 players from the 2020 New South Wales Under-20s women's team, the famous Simpsons meme era team.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, that was there was obviously plenty to discuss there after round 11. So we should probably get stuck into now our ESCOC game of the week for round 11. And as previously mentioned, it was going to be Manly Warringah Seagulls men and the Illawarra Hawks, but it got stuck in the matrix. And listen, it was making me too dysregulated watching that. So we had to make another decision. And you very smartly suggested the Canberra Gunners versus the Inner West Bulls men's game instead. Now, truth be told, I don't have a lot of notes on this game compared to some other games, but I do have a lot of stats at the end.
Fair.
But from the outset of this game, on paper, it had so many great things I was looking forward to. First of all, broadcast. Beautiful. Quality was great. It almost reminded me of the Big Voice Media guys up here in NBL 1 North who do our games of the week, and they've also done nationals the last couple of years. Like, top notch. We knew that we're going to have good comms because Davey J was on the mic as per usual. Loved the tone of those pink jerseys from the Gunners. Different kind of pink that you'd normally see for a pink round, but I really liked it. It looked good. Loved how the guys were getting around matching their pink sweatbands and pink shoes and whatnot to tie in with the theme of the round. So I love that extra mile. Tuggeranong looked great on the broadcast because it looks like a proper stadium with a big grandstand. But then I had a lot of question marks, Lockie. Morrison is on crutches. Darnell Hoskins starts on the bench. Pender starts on the bench. Evan Wardlow is playing point guard. Jasper Rentoy is starting on the bench. And then I was like, have we entered the upside down as we've donned these pink jerseys?
Legit. I mean, no Morrison is so. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks without him, but I have to say that Ted Big Wither in the starting lineup was scorer. His first 3 baskets came in 3 very, very different ways. Had that backing someone down, the baby hook early, missed a 3, but then got in the pick and roll with Will Mayfield on the next one. And then his third one went baseline, spun on Cooper Wilkes and had 6 of Canberra's first 9 points. For a second there, I was like, somehow they've just magically adapted to not having Glenn and they're just going to play completely differently and everything will be fine. And then it didn't keep going
until it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It wasn't. Yes.
Until it wasn't, yeah. I mean, I don't have a lot of notes from this first quarter other than I just thought Canberra shot maybe settled for a lot of threes a little bit too early in this game. I know the commentators were making comments about the speed of the game and understanding that when you're there, it is a lot faster than when you're watching it on the broadcast. But this first quarter for me, Inner West really impressed me that they had a lot more spacing, a lot more sharing of the ball. I really like that Coach TJ for the Bulls, you know, he didn't start Rentoy for whatever reason, and he started Cooper Wilkes for a change too.
Yeah.
So being confident in, for both coaches, I should say, to be fair, making those changes in your starting lineups to suit your opposition, having the confidence to say to your players, hey, this is what we're going with for this reason, and not having to, what's the word, you know, appeal to egos. I really liked. But yeah, Bulls, great spacing, great team ball. Both teams, I feel like, were just kind of like sussing each other out in this quarter. What did you see?
I definitely saw that, especially that Rentoy coming off the bench. That was almost like flicking a switch for the Inner West Bulls. You know, we saw him, you know, it's funny, like it didn't work out at Albury Wodonga, and truly it just didn't, because he's continuing to show he's a good player. And he was really good. You know, he's getting downhill but still finding teammates. He's bringing energy. And I mean, this is a guy that trained with the Sydney Kings. So he can control an offense, but he moves well off the ball. He moves well, you know, getting to the rack, finding teammates, scoring when it's the right opportunity. And yeah, they were getting baskets in the early stages, but it looks so much easier with him out there on court. It really did.
And first quarter, did you have any other real outstanding points for first quarter? Because I just feel like, yeah, both teams sussing each other out, really. Canberra won the first quarter 22-17. You know, players like Cam Pender coming off the bench, like I said, ended up making an immediate impact, which I really liked. I really liked having Teddy in the starting lineup as well, because it's obvious that he has been absorbing everything that he's learning from being in the NBL squad in the last couple of seasons, and he's transferring that into his own game really nicely. So he's developing really well. But yeah, otherwise there wasn't really much else in this quarter for me.
No, I mean, what I noticed, especially out of the stats, and when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that made sense, was that, yeah, Canberra 8 of 9 from 2-point range in the first quarter, but the teams combined to be 2 of 12 from 3-point range, and a few of them were a little bit, there's not a lot going on, I'll just fire away here, which probably happened a little too often, especially for the liking of coaches like TJ and Pete Harak. Not sure either of them will be too happy with guys just putting one up just because not a lot's going on. But that's also relying on your teammates to move off the ball as well sometimes.
Yeah, that's the other thing. And I think I'll probably talk a bit more about that when we get into the second half, particularly for Canberra. But the second quarter, I just noticed that for Canberra, not a lot of people crashing the O-glass. So obviously with Glenn unfortunately sidelined, not only does that mean someone isn't consistently under the basket or contesting offensive rebounds, but it means that there's a lot of size missing now. So him being there in his presence is enough to put off oppositions to even bother trying to I shouldn't say that they shouldn't try to go for the defensive rebound, but it's intimidating because he's so good at what he does under there. He takes up a lot of space. So in that sense, the Gunners were definitely lacking, and they needed other people, 2-3 more people crashing that O-glass and making it more of a competition in that respect. So they were really missing that. And I wonder as well if sometimes when you play with someone like a Glenn Morrison in that position, you become a little bit too dependent on it. So then you unlearn, oh, wait, rebounding is my responsibility as well. And so when the Glenn Morrisons of the world aren't there, no one else is there to fill the gap.
Yeah, and I feel like it's the kind of thing where a coach would go, "Who's crashing the boards?" and you like yell it in a timeout, and everyone would go, "Oh, is that my job?" Ah, jeez.
It's everyone's job.
It is everyone's job, but it's like you said, when Glenn's there, it's he is the presence. But I mean, you mentioned Pender coming off the bench, and I mean, yes, it's interesting that he doesn't start, but he is so good off the bench as well. And there's some players that are just so good off the bench. Harrison Rayner at Sutherland's another one. Sutherland put him in the starting lineup one week, and it was like, six man. This man is a six man. But back to Pender. He's so much energy. He was one that was fighting for O boards a little bit. I think the commentator said, he's 6'5", but plays 6'9", which is pretty accurate. But he is only 6'5", coming from 5'11" Lockie France. But he's not 6'10" Glenn Morrison is the thing. But I mean, he'll get out there and he always puts himself amongst it, and that's why he's been, one of the best young players in the league for a good couple of seasons now. I actually wrote down that basically Cam Pender was what was keeping Canberra ahead, especially at the offensive end. Scoring, rebounding, just getting amongst it at every opportunity, which is what we've come to love about him.
Yeah, I agree. And the commentators also made a good comment. Big dogs have got to eat in the second quarter, which I thought was great in the second quarter. But yeah, Canberra's strengths offensively really came to fruition in the second quarter was their dribble penetration. Tui could do what he liked. Mayfield could do what he liked. Pender was getting in there. A lot of scoring opportunities when they get 2 feet in the paint. And if you have a look at the analysis stats online, you can see Canberra in those first 2 quarters had 16 and 14 points in the paint. And that all just came from that dribble penetration. Yeah. Or if it wasn't directly from that, Tui a couple of times would create something from the dribble penetration and open up another opportunity to dump it inside to someone like Teddy, and off they go. So that was really, really working for them well. And I think it did take Cam Pender coming off the bench to get it started.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I just think it wasn't exactly polished all the time, but people were getting stuff done. Rentoi continued to be great. I think Malok Majak really started to come into his own in the second quarter, especially early in the second quarter. He's not as much rim protection. Gives him a chance to do a few more things. He had a couple of floaters where you probably expect maybe Glenn would, come out and meet him just outside the restricted zone on a couple of those occasions. So I think in West, I mean, I won't say they trailed by 12 at halftime, but they didn't look like they were a team that was going to win this game. But they were doing enough good things to stay in it, and there were times where Canberra also didn't look like they were about to put them away either. But I mean, they called a timeout late. I think it was at 36-28, and after they turned it over on the first possession out of the timeout, which is never good. They did look a little better, even if the scoring wasn't there. But it also felt like a game where, when I saw the turnover numbers, they looked low. It felt like the teams were turning the ball over more, but I think they were getting it poked away and saving it themselves, kind of thing, on a lot of occasions.
Yeah, turnovers are really interesting, and I might touch on it because I wrote something about turnovers. I'll touch on my point about turnovers at the end. But what I want to add for the second quarter from the Bulls, I mentioned that I like Cooper Wilkes in the starting lineup again for the Bulls, but the couple of times I've seen them play now, I'm like, just give him a couple more minutes, because if he's not scoring, he's still doing the right things. He's still setting good screens. He's still in the right position to be a receiver on the offensive end. He's someone that still has that broad presence for rim protection and defensively. And him with Majak, that's in this second quarter when they were on together, and Breffo, because Breffo's got hops and length for days.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, Gunners could be in trouble here if they don't get these matchups right. Because Majak, like this kid, I had to have a quick Google. I know I've watched him play up here in the North for the last couple seasons. But he hasn't had any, from what I could see, I don't think he's had any, not trial, but like, I don't know if he's on any NBL radars. Because I know this is only one game and he had a hell of a game and he did a great job of being able to exploit some of Canberra's shortcomings on the inside, pun intended. But he has some tremendous potential and some versatility about him. So I'm like, get this guy in a train-on squad for the NBL, surely by now, surely.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many players where they never get announced and they're just training players or whatever, and maybe he's on there. But I can't really remember him being like officially announced as a DP or an extra player or anything like that.
No. But yeah, this is kind of where I was like, this is where Inner West can really have a stronghold over Canberra, as this presence inside, and the youngsters of Canberra who have been part of that squad and learning from Glenn for the last few years had an opportunity to challenge them a little bit. So they had it was either you either step up now and you challenge them and you take your own space in the key, or you hide away. And I think when we get to the back end of the game, unfortunately, it was a little bit of the latter. But Bulls was still really disciplined, plenty of team ball, lots of space. I think in the past, when watching some Bulls teams, they've relied on some of their key players just to be generating everything. But I felt like their sharing of the ball was still really, really good up till halftime. Just maybe not connecting as much as they would have liked. Only scoring 13 points in that second quarter, the Bulls, with Canberra winning the second quarter 20-13. But still a lot of room for improvement, but definitely not terrible.
No, definitely. Like you said, room for improvement, definitely not terrible. And as we'll see after halftime, they certainly did improve to the Inner West Bulls.
Yeah. So do you have any other notes on the second quarter before we get stuck into the second half?
No. I think I covered just about everything that I had noted down. I think the third quarter is where I got a little bit more. I think the second half in general is a very interesting half of basketball from both teams' perspective, and not for the same reasons, unfortunately.
Yes, that is correct. This is where my note-taking started to become more frequent. Third quarter, I will have to give another shout to the commentary team. One of the color commentators saying, TJ needs to enter this game and knock down some threes. Because 100% yes. Because both teams shot quite poorly from the three-point line this game. But also, TJ could knock a three with the best of them back in the day. I still remember watching him play for the Sydney Kings when he had a stint of being a development officer as well at Central Coast Basketball many moons ago. Could still knock him down. Could smoke a dart out the front. Could knock 10 threes in a row when he comes back. Like he could ball. He could ball. So this is where I want to talk about turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
The turnovers for the game for each team, I think Canberra ended up with 12 turnovers. Not bad. Bulls ended up with 15. Also not bad, not great. However, midway through the third quarter, Canberra Gunners only had 3 turnovers for the game. And they ended up with 12.
Yeah.
Guys, what's going on?
Yeah, and some of them were just almost mind-boggling or just like lackadaisical.
I think the commentator actually used the same word to describe it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them, I don't think a lot of these turnovers either came from a significant change in defensive pressure from the Bulls. I think it came from people perhaps playing a little bit out of position, different combinations that maybe weren't used to playing with each other or didn't quite have the chemistry down yet, and a lot of miscommunication. In the stretch of this game, Evan was still playing point guard. He kind of threw a turnover away and a miscommunication, I think, on a Will Mayfield cut, and you could see he started to get frustrated, which, look, I wouldn't expect Evan to really be in that point guard position, but also the Gunners aren't really one to get that frustrated with each other either. So they were definitely having an off day.
They certainly were, and there was one where I think it was Angus Byatt just caught the ball up high, and his ball just threw his hand. I was just like, as soon as he caught the ball, he went to go up with it, and the ball just kept going. I was like, oh, okay. So it's just little things like that, and then I think what was most emblematic of Canberra having an off day was Mayfield attempting to set a screen on the left wing and running Breffo straight in to the guy with the ball and getting called for an offensive foul. I was like, yeah, okay. This is an off day.
But I also wrote down that point of play in the third quarter for a different reason. Because after Mayfield was called for that foul, he goes off and signals people are mouthing off, but it looks like he's doing the chicken dance down the court, which I thought was really funny. So he's gone to fake the screen. He shoved off Breffo. He's got called for the offensive foul. Mayfield and Breffo are having a bit of a chat, and Mayfield's walking down past his free throw line, kind of waving it away, chit chat motion with his hands flapping, and it looks like he was doing the chicken dance. And I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, I wish I have to go back and watch that now. Or not now.
Yeah. It was so funny. If I remember to, maybe I can clip it up and just meme it somehow. But West Bulls, they just kept doing what they were doing. Clark was cutting like a knife on the offensive end. Geez Louise, he is a knife through butter when he's at full speed. I also kind of thought maybe the more scoring opportunities could have been created for him, especially in this second quarter. Kind of quiet in the first half. But then again, when you have other people in your team stepping up and getting the job done anyway, it doesn't matter who's getting points on the board as long as you get the win at the end of the day. And the other interesting thing I thought from Gunners was that Mayfield and Tui were off at the same time.
That's an interesting one. Just for not even for the playing, just having one of them out there to, control things, just the lead in general. When you huddle up, who's talking?
Yeah. They need that. They need an anchor. They need some leadership on there. So that was interesting. They're off at the same time. But then coming back to Clark, just when I thought, hey, this guy needs some more shooting options, he hits that huge three with 30 seconds to go in the third quarter. Again, I would clip that up for a highlight reel personally, but it's probably not going to get priority over some of the big dunks that we get week in, week out.
Yeah. But and then you want to talk Canberra turnovers and lackadaisical. Straight off that three, Mayfield just puts it out just too far in front of Pender. And it goes all the way across court and into the middle of nowhere. And that's not even being really defended. It's just misplayed pass.
This is why I think they were just a little bit out of sync, a little bit not on the same page this game. Like they just entered the upside down somehow because it was the same but different, but not good different. So this third quarter was a low scoring quarter for both teams.
Wasn't Audi? It wasn't good different?
No, it definitely wasn't Audi. I won't hear a bad word about Audi. Love that place. Low scoring quarter for both teams. Gunners lost this quarter 8 points to 16.
That's messy.
And I went back with this 8 points. So here in the third quarter, the Gunners only took 4 shots. And I thought that was wrong. I thought that was wrong. I
That's
took on
gotta
the
be
shot
wrong.
chart.
No,
I looked
it
at
is
the
wrong. The Gunners' misses are in white circles on the shot chart.
Okay,
It
that
is
makes
wrong.
a lot more sense.
Because I hope there was 2 shots on the shot chart in one quarter that intersect each other, and I was like, why is this circle like broken? It's like the miss next to it was a white. Yeah, they use white circles on the white background for the Gunners' misses.
Yeah, okay, that makes a lot more sense because I'm like, surely I'm not going back to watch the third quarter because I ain't got time, but surely they didn't take only 4 shots in that quarter because I recorded it ended up being a 2, a 2, a 3, and a free throw to make that 8 points.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I know in the fourth quarter, it looks like on the shot chart they shot only 6 shots, but I know that James Tui had a corner 3 and it's not recorded at all on the shot chart.
That was what I went looking as soon as I saw that James Tui corner 3. I was like, something about it. I wanted to see the shot chart for some reason, and I was like, "Where's Tui's corner 3?" It's like, it's just not there. I think it's in a white circle.
Yeah, so very, very frustrating. I'm hovering my cursor over that area right now to try and find the Miss James Tui 3, and I don't think it's actually even recorded.
Oh, okay.
So it was like 4 shots in the third from the Gunners. Yeah, roll the tape. The tape.
Yeah.
So the Gunners as well.
Maybe that's something we should have had in the discussion points. Can we get contrasting colours for the shot chart, please?
Please. Yeah. Small things make a big difference.
They do.
But yes, we talked about, the Gunners had 30 points in the paint in the first half, and then only 2 come the third quarter, and only 6 in the second half in total. So they just completely went away from what was working from them, was that dribble penetration we spoke about before. But Inner West, again, they just kept grinding it out. They just kept sticking to their game plan, doing what they were doing. 10 points in the paint in the third, 10 in the fourth quarter, 40 of their total 67 points were in the paint this game.
They
mega
recognise that there was a certain Brindabella Beacon not there, causing havoc for them in the paint. Took advantage.
Yeah. And I've got some stats to share with the fourth quarter for the Inner West Bulls when we get to that. But other than that, for the third, that's all I had for the third. Have you got any more notes for the third?
My final note on the third quarter was that was a train wreck. It was absolutely captivating. You know, when you see a car crash or a train wreck when you're driving by, you just got to look. Parts of it were that. Unfortunately, most of it was the Gunners.
Oh, it was just so unlike them. It was so bizarre. It really was. But I do. You go.
I think Inner West kind of keyed into it as well. Like, they started, especially as we roll into the fourth quarter, I think they started realizing that Canberra's passing is just not good today. Let's actually, they weren't even really jumping passing lanes to start with and didn't do it a whole lot, but they started to creep up on things and, put them under a little bit more pressure. I think they really started noticing these guys are not passing the ball well today.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I really admire the Inner West Bulls for sticking to their game plan and their team principles. No one was playing hero ball, but their mentality just looked really calm and collected the whole game as well. Maybe it wasn't like that on the court. There was that little momentary chicken dance with Mayfield and Breffo having a bit of a chit chat after that offensive foul. But otherwise, everyone looks like they had a really cool head from the Inner West Bulls. So credit to them. Let's get stuck into the fourth, where the Inner West Bulls, for me, statistically really started to shine. For the game, the Inner West Bulls had 19 second chance points.
Yeah.
7 of those 19 came in the fourth quarter. So the hustle was real for these guys. And I think exactly what you said before, they started to pick up that, Canberra's not really on their game, getting a little bit sloppy with their passes. This is our time to make lemonade out of their lemons. They also shot 71.3% from the 2-point range in the fourth quarter, which I think certainly made up for They're 23% overall from the 3-point line.
Mm.
And they just apparently shot 19 shots in the third and 12 shots in the fourth. But as we discussed, who knows with the shot chart? Hopefully their shot chart's a little bit more reliable, given that you can see their burgundy color a lot more clearer online. But so their stats were really outstanding in this fourth quarter. In terms of notes, I had no other notes for the Bulls. They just really got it together. Statistically, it was great in the fourth. For the game as well, I think one of the stats that is really going to probably sting Coach Herrick for the Gunners is not only the 19 second chance points, but the 17 offensive rebounds that the Bulls got. 17 overall. 5 of the 17 5 of the 17 O boards were just Majak alone. That's a lot.
He's the one you need to be aware of.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. Credit to Inner West as well. They got to the line 16 times, so 4 more times than the Gunners. And the Gunners only getting to the line 12 times is a little bit lower for them as well. And 51 rebounds overall to Canberra Gunners, 39 for the game. So dominating possession at that end as well. Both teams having pretty low assist counts with 13 and 12 for Gunners and Bulls respectively. But statistically, it all went really well for the Bulls, and this is how they really closed out the game. Gunners stopped scoring. Bulls just kept doing what they were doing and doing it even better than what they did in the first.
I mean, even early in the fourth, I wrote down that it just didn't feel like Canberra were going to do enough to win unless Inner West suddenly didn't take advantage. And like you said, Inner West kept doing their thing, and eventually they took advantage. It came right down to the wire. What the hell was that tech foul on Max Clark?
Yeah, I think maybe he was just talking a little bit too much, getting a little bit chippy. I think maybe just in the heat of the game. But I actually wrote down that tech for also another reason.
Because I thought the commentator said that he broke the plane, but he was defending I don't know, he was 30 feet away from the play. So was he standing was he standing just really close to the line or stepping back in, and he broke the plane while the ball was being thrown? I've never seen anyone do that, so I'm not aware of the intricacies of the rule. If you actually have to be actively guarding the man on an inbound to get called for, reaching over the line, or if you reach over the line, that's reaching over the line. Doesn't matter where you are.
That makes a lot more sense because the commentator said, the referees haven't been calling that all game. So it was a little bit uncharacteristic for them to call it all of a sudden now, especially in the context of that fourth quarter, to call a tech there and then.
Yeah, it was very, and I mean, it was obviously the camera was on the close-up shot of the inbounds and there was no Inner West player within cooee of it. So, new one for me. It was very interesting. It tied the game up when Canberra hit the free throw,
but that's what similar to Will Mayfield's foul in the third. I actually wrote down this tech foul in the fourth for a different reason. I don't know if you noticed, but by the time the camera, we saw the tech foul called, the camera was on Max Clark, the commentators made a comment about it. That was all happening. Tui was already lined up for the free throw. He had pitched a 10 at that free throw line. He was so quick. As soon as the tech was called, it's like he was there. He was ready to go, lining up his elbow. I thought that was hilarious, where we've only just learnt of the tech foul and Tui's already ready to shoot the shot. The man knows his role.
He does. And you mentioned 17 offensive rebounds. Very next play, Louis Bleachmore. Put back jam, offensive rebound off the missed basket by Max Clark. Gunners, you had your opportunity. Max Clark missed the shot, and you let the guy in to throw it down.
And the Canberra Gunners they picked up the defensive intensity, but only in the last 90 seconds. They were scrambling. They had a lot more high energy. They were really kind of rattling. I'm like, it's too late. Should have done this 5 minutes ago.
That's exactly what I wrote down. I was like, where was this? This is, where has this been all game?
And even the commentator one of the commentators made a really good point saying, I would have liked to have seen the Gunners back into that 1-2-2 press after the James Toohey free throw, or maybe even a free throw before that, just to try and generate some more turnovers, some more layups, something. Because we know that the Gunners are really good at closing out fourth quarters usually, and it's because of their defensive intensity. They've been able to keep teams to 10 points in the fourth quarter, and they go and score 26.
Yeah.
It's just the upside down today. Not happening.
It's not happening.
The other thing I know.
Oh, sorry, you go. No, you go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say the other thing I noticed as well was the personnel that was on for the Gunners at this part of the game. So Angus Byatt, Teddy, great starts to the game. They looked a lot more confident playing in those 4-5 spots, being a present under the basket, taking their scoring opportunities. They went on to close out the game, though. I would have liked to have seen them back on and maybe putting a little bit more rim pressure on the rim, or a little bit more rim protection, and being another scoring option for the likes of Pender, Mayfield, Toohey off the dribble penetration. Because there was even one possession where Cam Pender drove. He probably had a shot, but he also saw Will Rice was maybe open. And Will Rice could have been open had he stepped into it and backed himself. And then he just kind of hid behind the defenders, and it was another turnover. So kind of like this is an opportunity of who's ready to step up and close this game out. Yeah, I kind of thought like the combo at the end was an interesting choice.
No, that's 100% fair enough, because especially Teddy early doors was so good, and yeah. But I did think it was very fitting though that Jasper Rentoy had the final free throws. I thought he deserved to go out on that game on a high. Coming off the bench, 13 points, controlling the offense, had a late three to actually give the Inner West the lead before that tech foul free throw, which I thought was beautiful. His off the ball movement on that play. I just followed. It was like player cam. Just gave the ball off, did basically a lap of the court, and shot over James Toohey for the three that put Inner West up. So 4 very good quarters for Jasper Rentoy.
Yeah, and I think he only played 17 minutes. Yeah, 17 minutes, 35 seconds, 13 points, 2 rebounds, an assist, 54% from the field. Yeah, he's a player that he's super quick. I think he needs to find a team that's willing to run with him.
Fair.
Because sometimes, like, his strength is that you get a defensive rebound, you get it to him, you run together. He's going to get it to you in the right spot. He's going to set the tone and the pace, but he needs a team that's willing to do that with him.
Isn't Inner West's slogan "Run with us"?
I mean, if they're the Bulls, then yeah, that sounds right. So yeah, come on, guys, get it together. Yeah. But other outstanding performers, yeah, Majak played nearly the full game, 19 points, 16 rebounds. As I mentioned, 5 of those 16 rebounds were offensive. Also 2 assists. He shot at 40% overall. Just having that presence on the inside. And only 1 foul, so managed to stay in the game, which is good.
Yeah.
And then Cooper Wilkes, only 16 minutes, 4 points, 2 rebounds, maybe some room for a few more minutes. But obviously, Corbana Breffo, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 5 from 6 from the field. Like just doing a little bit of everything right and just playing so well on defense and really making life difficult for Will Mayfield.
Yeah, no, he's been great, and he's been good for a long time, and he deserves that captaincy next to his name as well, because that's what you want from a leader. Come out and do your job well.
Yeah, and set the tone for the rest of your team.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Is probably one of the most enjoyable Inner West Bulls men's game I've watched in a while, probably since the CB Blake Morrow era, I will say. It was really nice as well that nearly everyone from the roster, it says James Kodaki didn't get on.
Yeah, James didn't, but Joseph did. Yeah.
So nearly everyone on the Inner West Bulls roster got a run. Nearly everyone got on the score sheet as well. So as soon as some of the bench players making the most of their minutes, chipping in those extra points, that was really, really nice to see. Yeah. Nearly the whole Gunners bench as well got a run. You had Cam Pender leading the way for them with 19 points and 10 rebounds, 7 from 11. Probably could have shot a few more, just being the good team player that he is and trying to share the ball around a bit. And then, Angus Byatt putting in some good minutes, 9, 4, and 2. James Toohey had a really great start to this game, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and just being the good leader that he is as well. But yeah, it was a little bit of an unexpected game from the Gunners, but a really solid win and consistent win from Bulls.
I think that's a very, very good way to sum it up. And interestingly, I'm just looking at season stats, which I'm not sure if I'll have to go back and check. Last season would be a good check, considering they won it all last season, to see what they're. So last season, the Gunners shot 36.6% from 3-point range as a team. They shot 15% in that game, but they're also only shooting 29% from 3-point range as a team for the entire season.
Yeah. That's a surprise, and I'm not too sure. Have you got the stats in front of you of attempts? Like, are they just shooting more this season and perhaps increasing their chances of more misses if you're shooting more?
So last season, 29 attempts per game. This season, 32 attempts per game. So I don't know, maybe they're putting up some lower percentage looks, whereas maybe with having had Glenn out for, he was out at the start of the season as well, and now a few weeks, are they, sometimes where they'd be throwing it into Glenn, are they now putting up a lower percentage 3-point look instead? Something like that. Definitely a possibility. But, they've got guys that can shoot on this team. We know that.
Yeah, it just was not their shooting day. Even Darnell Hoskins Jr. couldn't really get his motor running this game, unfortunately.
No.
But would love to see some high-low action maybe from the Gunners. They've got guys like Teddy and Angus who can play those stretch ball positions or can play inside. Maybe use that to their strength. But, Inner West Bulls, I really hope they can make a solid run to the finals. But like we mentioned earlier, they have North and Manly to finish their season, which just seems so unfair. And Sharks, North, Manly are their last 3 games of the season.
That's messy.
Oh, going out with a bang, but that is tough.
Yeah. Hey, look, if you're not playing them at the end of the regular season to make finals, you're going to have to play them and beat them in finals. So either way, you're going to have to face these teams if you want to make it all the way. So just beat them whenever you face them. Beat who's in front of you.
That's like we say this so often. Just win. Just make
win.
It
What's wrong with you?
Just win. Just go out and win. Gosh, come on, guys.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard.
North women keep doing it.
Just be like them. But round 12, we already went through some of the games to look forward to in both men's and women's competition for round 12. I think we'll have a tough time or a fun time picking our next ESCOT game of the week. But Lockie, where can we hear you commentate this weekend?
I will be at the home of hoops, Alexandria Basketball Stadium, calling Comets versus Inner West. Is it not? It is Comets versus Inner West. So men at 5:30, women at 7:30. So, thanks, Squin. We've just done half my research for the week.
Oh, I live to give, mate. No problem. I've got a game of the week.
You've got a game of the week and FIBA stuff to do.
Yeah, because I like to make life harder for myself. So I've got a game of the week on Saturday at Auchenflower. We've got the Brisbane Capitals and the Gold Coast Rollers. So I'll be covering the women's game. And then I'll be racing home to get ready for my first game of the FIBA Men's U17 World Cup in Turkey. I've got Venezuela and Cote d'Ivoire.
Two nations we don't see a lot in basketball circles. I was discussing this during the Sutherland COE game because I think the Aussies have got Cote d'Ivoire in their group in men's and women's.
Yeah.
Which when we think, like, we see Mali a lot, we see Nigeria a lot, but don't know if I've seen Cote d'Ivoire much before.
I've only commentated their games when it's like a FIBA Afro basket tournament.
No.
I've definitely covered them a couple of times in those types of tournaments, but not at a World Cup. No. I've never commentated Venezuela at a World Cup, so I'm really keen to see what they bring. But yeah, you're right. When it comes to African nations at World Cups, regardless of the age group, it is usually Mali, Nigeria. Who's the other one that I was going to mention?
Angola.
Angola have had a long history of being in the Men's World Cup back in the day because their president or prime minister was a huge basketball fan and intentionally put lots of money into the men's basketball program. So Cameroon as well is making an appearance at this men's U17 FIBA Basketball World Cup as well. So
a nation that's developed a few players over the years. Not all of them play for Cameroon, but
we won't hold that against them.
No.
So yeah, and I've also then on Sunday I've got Serbia and Venezuela in the men's too. So looking forward to getting some of those names down pat. What people don't know about FIBA games is that we don't have the roster until a day before the tournament starts. So we have 24 hours not only to learn the correct pronunciations, but also to try and do any kind of research on who these players actually are.
About 16-year-old Venezuelan basketball players.
Correct.
Get ready to learn Spanish, buddy.
Yep. And lucky I did Spanish 101 in 2007, so got to bring that out at the back of my brain. But yeah, that's where you can hear me. So for the next couple of weeks, I'll be on FIBA duties here and there. So listen out, or I'll try and put them on my personal Instagram if you want to stay up to date. But yeah, looking forward to getting trolled by all the men when I do these men's games.
FIBA, just turn off the live chat on the YouTube. It's like,
well, no, our part of our job is to engage with the live chat, so it will never get turned off.
Oh, dearie me. There we go.
Yeah, that's okay. Look, we've got lots of NBL 1E still to look forward to. We've got some FIBA to look forward to. Make sure you tune in to the FIBA Men's and Women's U17 World Cup over the next couple of weeks because our COE athletes will be on display on the world stage. And you can watch all of the games on the FIBA YouTube channel. So
beautiful.
If you can't watch them live, they'll still be up there that you can watch later.
Excellent.
But otherwise, my friend, enjoy your weekend, round 12 of NBL 1 East. And what's the good word that we need to tell the punters out there?
Look, I keep telling you, don't sleep on the East.